When people look back at the story of Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, they usually remember the medals, the standing ovations, and the history they made on the ice. They remember world titles, unforgettable performances, and the emotional moments that captivated skating fans across the globe. But sometimes the most important chapter of an extraordinary journey is never written on a scoreboard. It lives quietly inside the ordinary moments that cameras almost never capture. Long before the world celebrated them as champions, there was a small apartment kitchen in Oakville, Canada, where a very different story was unfolding. It wasn't a story about perfect jumps or record-breaking scores. It was a story about routine, sacrifice, homesickness, and two athletes learning how to survive thousands of miles away from home. One of the smallest details from that period has become surprisingly memorable among fans. Ryuichi once gave Riku a rice cooker as a birthday present. At first glance, it sounds like an unusually practical gift. Many people would probably expect jewelry, designer accessories, or something more glamorous for a birthday celebration. Instead, he chose an appliance meant for cooking rice. Even more surprising is what happened afterward. According to stories shared over the years, Riku rarely needed to use it. That tiny detail has sparked endless conversations among skating fans. Why give someone a rice cooker if it would spend most of its time sitting quietly on a shelf? Was there a hidden meaning behind that simple gift, or was it simply another example of an athlete choosing practicality over luxury? Nobody outside their lives can answer those questions with certainty, but what makes the story fascinating is how it connects to everything else that happened during their years together in Canada. Their partnership officially began in 2019, when a teenage Riku made one of the biggest decisions of her life. Leaving Japan behind wasn't simply about changing training locations. It meant leaving her family, familiar surroundings, and everything she had known while stepping into a completely different country. Canada became the place where she would have to rebuild her daily life from scratch while also mastering one of the most difficult disciplines in figure skating. Pair skating requires complete trust. Every lift, throw, and twist depends on two athletes moving as one. Building that level of synchronization isn't something that happens overnight. It develops slowly through thousands of practices, countless conversations, and everyday experiences that have nothing to do with competition. Riku entered this new chapter as a teenager still adapting to adulthood, while Ryuichi already had years of international experience behind him. There was an age difference, a difference in competitive history, and a difference in life experience, yet somehow those differences gradually became strengths instead of obstacles. Life in Oakville quickly settled into a demanding routine. Early mornings became normal. Training sessions lasted for hours. Recovery, conditioning, and technical work filled nearly every day. Unlike the excitement fans see during competitions, most elite athletes spend far more time repeating small details than celebrating victories. Improvement is often built through quiet repetition rather than dramatic breakthroughs. Somewhere within that routine, another habit developed. Since Riku couldn't drive at first, transportation became a daily challenge. Rather than treating it as someone else's responsibility, Ryuichi regularly drove to pick her up before practice. Winter mornings in Ontario can be brutally cold, with darkness stretching well into the early hours. Yet those drives gradually became another piece of their everyday schedule. Nobody handed him a script telling him to do it. Nobody awarded points for showing up early with a car. It simply became part of life. Those moments rarely appear in documentaries, yet they often reveal more about a partnership than any medal ceremony ever could. After training, another routine often followed. Instead of eating out frequently, they usually prepared meals themselves. Living overseas while pursuing world-class athletic goals isn't inexpensive, so practical decisions became necessary. Cooking at home helped manage expenses while also ensuring they could maintain the nutrition required for elite performance. Among the meals that became familiar, curry appeared again and again. Years later, Ryuichi explained it with characteristic simplicity. It was easy to make. One large batch could provide multiple meals, making it an efficient option for busy athletes. On the surface, that explanation makes perfect sense. But when something continues week after week, month after month, and eventually year after year, It begins to represent more than convenience. For someone who had recently left Japan, a bowl of rice topped with curry may have offered something difficult to describe. Familiar flavors often become emotional anchors for people living abroad. A single homemade meal can temporarily erase the distance between countries, reminding someone of family dinners and childhood memories waiting on the other side of the world. Whether intentionally or not, those ordinary dinners may have helped transform an unfamiliar apartment into something that felt a little more like home. The kitchen slowly became more than just a place where food was prepared. It became a place where trust quietly accumulated. There were no cameras recording every conversation. No commentators narrated those evenings. No judges assigned scores for chopping vegetables or washing dishes. Yet those simple routines were shaping the partnership that fans would later admire on the world's biggest stages. At one point, Riku prepared omuris for them. The story has since become one of the lighter memories shared in interviews. Ryuichi reportedly complimented the meal before joking about how difficult it was to clean the ketchup left in the frying pan afterward. It's a funny story, but it also says something meaningful. People rarely tease someone they barely know over something so small. That kind of playful honesty usually appears only after a relationship has reached a certain level of comfort. Instead of creating awkwardness, moments like those became shared memories that added another layer to their growing partnership. Little by little, life stopped feeling like two athletes simply training together and started resembling two people navigating everyday challenges side by side. As months turned into years, the routines became almost invisible because they happened so often. Wake up before sunrise. Drive to practice. Train for hours. Return home exhausted. Prepare dinner. Clean the kitchen. Repeat. None of those moments would ever receive a standing ovation, yet together they formed the unseen foundation beneath every achievement that followed. Before long, another chapter of their Canadian journey would begin, one that would deepen both their trust and the daily rhythm they had quietly built together. Before long, another chapter of their Canadian journey would begin, one that would deepen both their trust and the daily rhythm they had quietly built together. As the months passed, their living arrangements evolved, making everyday life even more practical for two athletes whose schedules revolved almost entirely around training and recovery. Their goal remained unchanged: become the best pair team they could possibly be. Every decision, whether it involved practice times, meals, transportation, or rest, was ultimately connected to that mission. From the outside, those choices appeared completely logical. Elite athletes are expected to organize their lives around performance. Yet what made their stories so compelling wasn't the efficiency of their routine, it was the consistency with which they supported one another through countless ordinary days that no one else ever witnessed. Trust in pair skating isn't created during competitions. It is earned through repetition. Every successful lift begins long before competition day. Every clean throw jump is built upon hundreds of successful attempts in practice, each one requiring complete confidence in the person standing beside you. That confidence doesn't grow from speeches or promises. It grows from reliability. It grows from knowing that your partner will be there tomorrow morning just as they were today. Over time, the responsibilities inside their shared routine naturally became more balanced. Cooking was no longer something done by only one person. Both contributed whenever necessary. Preparing meals, cleaning afterward, organizing groceries, and keeping life moving forward became just another part of training together. While fans celebrated perfect performances under bright arena lights, another kind of teamwork continued quietly behind closed apartment doors. Those everyday responsibilities rarely make headlines, but they often reveal the strongest partnerships because they require patience rather than applause. Somewhere during those years came the birthday gift that would later become one of the most talked about stories among supporters. Instead of choosing an expensive luxury item, Ryuichi gave Riku a rice cooker. At first, it sounded almost amusing. Some fans smiled at how practical the present seemed. Others wondered why an athlete would choose kitchen equipment instead of something more personal or fashionable. Yet perhaps that gift reflected exactly the kind of person he had always been. Throughout their partnership, his actions consistently suggested that practicality mattered more than appearances. Making sure someone could prepare a proper meal wasn't flashy, but it could make daily life a little easier. In that sense, the gift fit perfectly with everything people had already come to know about his personality. What makes the story memorable, however, is what happened afterward. The rice cooker reportedly spent much of its time unused. Not because it didn't work, not because it wasn't appreciated, simply because there often wasn't much need for it. Meals were frequently prepared together as part of the routine they had already established. In a strange way, the unused appliance became symbolic of something much larger than cooking. It quietly represented how often daily responsibilities were shared rather than carried alone. Whether anyone chooses to assign deeper meaning to that is entirely up to personal interpretation, but the image itself remains striking. A thoughtful gift sitting patiently on a shelf while life continued through shared habits instead. As their partnership matured, so did their competitive results. Years of repetition began producing performances that attracted increasing international attention. Judges noticed cleaner elements. Fans noticed stronger chemistry. Commentators frequently spoke about how naturally they seemed to move together. To casual viewers, it might have looked effortless, but those closest to the sport understood the countless hours hidden behind every polished routine. Excellence rarely arrives suddenly. It is usually assembled piece by piece through discipline that outsiders never see. Then came one of the most difficult moments of their journey. Injuries have a way of reminding every athlete how fragile even the strongest careers can be. For pair skaters, those challenges are especially complicated because one person's recovery directly affects the other's future. When one partner cannot train, both careers temporarily pause. Suddenly, the focus shifts away from medals and toward healing, patience, and uncertainty. During one particularly difficult period, Riku suffered a shoulder injury that interrupted training. Anyone who has watched pair skating understands how physically demanding lifts can be, making shoulder health absolutely essential. Competition schedules suddenly become less important than medical appointments, rehabilitation exercises, and the hope that recovery will happen sooner rather than later. Looking back, one of the most memorable comments associated with that period came from Ryuichi himself. Rather than immediately discussing rankings or upcoming events, he described the emotional shock of seeing his partner hurt. His reaction reflected genuine concern before competitive calculation. That distinction resonated with many fans because it reminded everyone that elite athletes are human beings first. Behind every performance are friendships, partnerships, and shared experiences that cannot be measured by scores. Recovery demanded patience from both of them. Instead of rushing back too quickly, they had to rebuild strength gradually. Every successful practice after an injury becomes a small victory long before major championships return. Sometimes progress is measured not by medals but by completing one more lift without pain, finishing another training session successfully, or simply regaining confidence little by little. Then life presented another challenge. This time it was Ryuichi dealing with injury concerns that affected his ability to compete. Once again, the roles naturally shifted. The person who had so often supported his partner now found himself relying on that same support in return. Stories shared afterward suggested that Riku took an active role in helping with daily life while recovery continued, preparing meals and making sure everything possible was done to keep rehabilitation moving forward. That reversal perfectly illustrated the balance their partnership had gradually developed over the years. Support no longer flowed in only one direction. It moved naturally between them whenever circumstances demanded it. Perhaps that's what makes truly successful partnerships so remarkable. They adapt without needing grand announcements. When one person struggles, the other quietly steps forward. When circumstances change again, the balance shifts once more. There is no scoreboard measuring acts of kindness, yet those unseen moments often determine whether a team survives difficult seasons. Eventually, perseverance began producing extraordinary rewards. Competition after competition, their performances reached new heights. Victories that once seemed distant gradually became reality. Their names appeared more frequently among the world's elite pair teams. Championships that had once been ambitious dreams slowly transformed into genuine possibilities. The skating world began recognizing not only their technical quality but also the unmistakable connection they displayed every time they stepped onto the ice. To audiences watching from arenas or television screens, it looked almost effortless. But anyone who understood their journey knew that every successful performance carried invisible memories of early mornings, homemade dinners, difficult recoveries, and years of unwavering commitment. By then, the partnership had become far more than a collection of competition results. It had evolved into a story of resilience built one ordinary day at a time. And soon, their greatest achievements and their most emotional decisions would test everything they had built together over those unforgettable years.